Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Korra news update video / speculation video for The Sting, which is going to air tomorrow. I'll cover that speculation after the news. First up, we have episode descriptions for The Sting and also for The Beginning is two-parter, which is going to air next week on the 25th of October. 1 hour premiere at 8 o'clock Eastern. But anyway, the episode description for The Sting is: when triad activity threatens to put future industries out of business, Mako performs an investigation and uncovers a conspiracy. So I'll talk more about that in my speculation. The Beginnings two-parter has, I think it combines the two descriptions together. It says, Korra learns about the origins of the first Avatar, then like semicolon, Korra realizes what she must do to restore balance to the physical and spirit world. So I assume it's the first one is the origins of the Avatar thing, and the second one is she realizes what she must do. So yep, that's what we have there. Next up is that we got the episode ratings for Peacekeepers, the TV ratings obviously, and yeah, they weren't that good. Peacekeepers got 1.1 million viewers on Friday night, which is down 1.2 million from the previous episode, Civil Wars Part 2. Now, before you panic, it was obviously to be expected. Nick made the time change from 7 to half 8, and they obviously had to have expected this because he only warned people about 5 days in advance, and obviously not everyone realised it, and that's why the ratings are so low. The key thing here will be how the next episode does and how the two-parter does, because the next episode probably won't get right up to like the 2.38 that we had before, but it will probably get closer to 2 million, maybe even reach that. The key though, I think, will really be how good the Beginnings two-parter does, because they'll be starting the half an hour beforehand at 8, not half 8, because it's 2 episodes, and obviously it's a special. I assume they're going to advertise this a lot because it's the origin of the Avatar. First Avatar, they have to do a big deal about advertising this. They've already done stuff like this. Like, there's already a preview clip for Beginnings Part 1 out there, which is really well done, I think, by Nick. So they just need to put out a lot of stuff on TV, let people know about it, and should do well. The only problem I see would be that they're taking a week break off after that, which could mess up the scheduling again. Will they let people know that it's just a 1 week break? They did a reasonably good job of that during Korra Book 1 when they took a break after episode 7. They need to do the same again here, so people know that it's just 1 week and then come back for the guide the week afterwards. So it's either going to be one of these things where The Sting immediately gets back up to what it was, maybe more so than that, about 2.38 million, or it'll get like 1.5, 1.75, and then Beginnings Part 1 and 2 maybe we'll get like 2.5 or something like that. The key will be, I think, I've said the key so many times, but an interesting point will be how well the guide does after the week break, because, you know, it's one of these things where, like, Turtles in its first season, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their other big animated show, they changed the time slot for that a lot, and the ratings were affected. They went down from like 3.2 millions to like 2.5. It was a pretty big drop, and they kept changing it around and stuff like that. So they don't need to do that with Korra anymore. But yeah, there's that. As I said before, there's a other piece of news. There's the Beginnings clip out. It's a Juan getting chased by some people, and then there's also the Sting clip out as well. Final piece of news would be that New York Comic Con is coming up. Basically, I think it starts tomorrow. Well, it actually starts today, but there's mainly just preview stuff. It's on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But Saturday is the key point for Avatar fans. That's when the Korra panel is. It's going to be at 11 Eastern, I think, the panel. They're going to be screening Beginnings Part 1 there, so watch out for spoilers if you're online about that. But we should also be getting some extra information from that panel, in that Stephen Yeun, I think, who's the voice of Juan, is going to be there, John DeFarney, PJ Byrne, Brian's going to be there, and Joaquin Dos Santos. So they are doing like a panel beforehand, like, so that we're going to get information. I assume it's going to be like a second half of the season type panel. maybe more information on the spirits and stuff like that, I would assume. I'll try and cover that the best I can on the site. Podcast co-host Kelly is going to be at the convention, so we'll have kind of some good accounts about that. But yeah, let's get into some speculation on the Sting. This is a kind of an interesting episode. As I just read out the description, it mainly seems Mako focused. I think Korra was purposefully not mentioned in the description because it would spoil the end of episode 5 when the description was meant to come out before then. So I do think we'll get a little bit of Korra in the episode, but I think it will just be something like one scene at the start, one scene at the end, set up that she's like in the spirit world, and then beginnings part 1 will like open up with her finding Wan or something like that, as we see from the clip. So that's what I'm thinking for Korra. I don't think we'll get like a huge part of the story about her, simply because the episode seems very packed. Mako getting a focus with the whole detective thing, that seems like it would have to be the main focus of the episode. It's called the Sting Operation Police Work. That would make sense. Not to mention the conspiracy still has to come out. I'm going to make the speculation right now that I think Varric is behind it all. He's kind of probably going to use this to get more people to see his movie, get more popularity that way, get more people against the North. I think that's what it's going to be about. Now, if indeed it is him, the interesting thing will be what exactly happens because of that. I'm not really sure. Like, just because the Bolin Varric side of the story has been very kind of comedy focused, so it suddenly becoming really serious is going to be interesting. Like, when Mako has to reveal that it's Varric to Bolin, how will Bolin take it because he's become like the protege of Varric and stuff like that. That's going to be interesting. So basically I'm assuming Varric was just the one who hired the Agnkaz to basically blow up the place. Now, the big thing in the description is like, why are the Triads trying to take down future industries? Like, this is the one thing that goes against the whole Varric thing, because he's in business with Asami, so why is he trying to take her down? Does he see that like she has better potential in her company than he does and is trying to take her down, or trying to make her rely on him more or something like that? That'll be interesting, but it seems that if they go that route, that they keep Bolin, Asami and Varric kind of together as this kind of side story. Be interesting. And then Mako coming into it with the investigation. I'm just not really sure how it's all going to come together. You know, this is a book called Spirits, and the focus right now seems to be on this conspiracy. On Air Temple Island, I think the story has to go back to Jinora now. It's been 3 episodes since they mentioned it, and I don't think they really need to do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it, where April in that show was made this really important character, really surprised everyone. Everyone was really liking her character. They made her super important in the story, and then for like episode after episode they didn't reference it. They come back to her for like a second, not reference it, and then it got a bad payoff at the end. They need to kind of give Jinora some attention now. Iki got hers in the last 2 episodes, Civil Wars. Milo got his last episode, so Jinora needs to come back to Jinora to set up the fact that she's going to go to Spirit World with Korra for some reason. And they need to bring back the whole thing of apparently she was brought by Wan or something like that, and all this sort of stuff. So that needs to come back into it. Now, what exactly they're doing with Tenzin, I'm not sure still. The main thing is that I think he's going to learn something from all of his children, and that's going to help him to better understand Korra and how to train her when they eventually come back together as a kind of group. Now, so I think he needs to learn something from Jinora, like next episode. Because I think once we get into beginnings, all we're really going to get is probably at the start of beginnings part 1, the scene setting up how she comes to meet Wan and hear the story. And then maybe like beginnings part 1 end with like some cliffhanger, Korra reacts to that, and then we start beginnings part 2, and that's more of a kind of Korra focused episode with Wan still involved telling some story. And I would assume that he tells her the story in the spirit world. She's then sent back by him into the physical world. She finds Tenzin and decides that Jinora needs to come with her into the spirit world again to like go through with the plan they've come up with, herself and Wan. It's a little bit confusing as to how it actually all happens, because from the clip that we see, it appears that just Korra hears the story of Wan from him, and does happen in the spirit world. So I'm not really sure like how Jinora gets involved in this, and how like is that like one of the very last episodes, or is that coming up soon? I'm not really sure. Which I suppose is a good thing about the show. It's not very predictable. There's a lot of stuff completely up in the air, and I suppose Peacekeepers did a good job in that way of setting things up in such a way where you don't really know everything that's going to happen. I think I've covered more or less everything. I don't think Lynn's going to play that much of a role in the episode. I really don't. Maybe like when Mako kind of whatever he does with the whole conspiracy, if he like reveals what actually happened, maybe he'll get praised by it. Maybe he'll get that promotion he mentioned in book 1, in episode 1. Say he was going to get like promoted to like investigator or detective. That would be interesting, and I'd like that to happen. And then Korra. I have a feeling they're not going to address it really next episode. Maybe they'll just like show that the two are still a little bit upset over it, but like not really focus on it for the whole episode. And it just so happens that like for the next couple of episodes, they just don't happen to kind of come in contact with each other. But then when they do come back together eventually, they'll have been gone apart so long they'll almost have forgotten about the breakup and stuff like that, and they'll just come back together. That'd be an interesting way to do it, and that it wouldn't really involve having to do that much with it in between, like now that they've broken up and the next time they meet. But I'm not really sure, so I'm just going to end it here before I go on forever in this video. I'll probably have a Pokemon video up tomorrow where I just talk about my plans for getting Pokemon like X or Y, and like, you know, some team plans I'm going to get and stuff like that. Because, you know, the game is out on Saturday, so I really want to do that. Other than that, you know, expect my video review of The Sting up on Saturday. Expect the podcast for that episode also to be up on Sunday. Written review up on Monday, and yeah, that's how I'm going to cover The Sting. So thanks for watching this video, and bye.